When you're doing binding, whether it be for a quilt or a small project, are you always a little bit confused on how to join the ends when you're finished sewing it around? Using this as an example here, you can barely tell the seam where this was joined together. So I'm just going to show you a very quick way to do that. It doesn't matter what width of binding that you use. This is 2.5 inches folded in half. This one is 2.25 inch flat, and if you fold it in half, it'll be 1 1/8. And then this one is where you have two different kinds of fabric to make up a nice binding edge. And again, this is an odd size, so when it is folded, let's see, it is almost 1.5 inches wide. So what I'm going to show you is on the 2.5 inch one, if you've got your two, let's just pretend that we've got our two ends. We've got this all sewn around, let's say to here and to here, to here, and we've got all this extra fabric, and we're going, well, how are we going to join these together? The best way that I found is you fold one back just to keep it out of the way. You trim them down so one is more, let's call it your final edge. And then what I do is I just take a quick snip. It can be done with scissors, it can be done with a rotary blade, it really doesn't matter. This is just for measuring. So what you want to do is, if this is the width of the binding here, you're going to open this up, and that's how wide you want the overlap to be. So in this case, it's 2.5. You can measure it, but I find this way is flawless when doing it this way. So what you do is you measure it like this. So that's your 2.5 from edge over to the other edge. That's 2.5 inches there. And then what you do is, if you say, okay, this is where I need them to join up, then you overlap these exactly to the fabric. So lining that up here and there to there. So that's where you're going, where it's going to be. I like to do a mark that I can see. So what I do is I open this up. You're going to be working right sides together. So pretend that I've now trimmed this down. So I've gone along and I go, okay, I've established that 2.5 and 2.5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler that has a 45-degree angle on it. And I'm going to line that up on the edge of the fabric. And I want to do it so that it is at the 2.5 inch measurement this way. So right up to here is a double check, and you go, yep, that's right. This lined up on the bottom. Here, I draw my line. Actually, it needs, yep, that's correct. So what's gonna happen is, shoot. Okay, I have a test sample that I've made up here. I've got partial binding here and then over here. And what we need to do is join them together. So when they're sewn together, we flip them to the other side, we sew it, and we have a nice clean finish. To join these together, there's a couple different ways. Some people will just go right sides together, sew, and then they have like a seam. They press it open, but that's really bulky. Doing the 45-degree makes it nice and neat. You can barely tell that it's there once you've finished sewing it all down. So I'm just going to show you a quick way that I do it. So what we have is we have a lot of extra fabric here, and we want to use the binding that we're actually sewing with as a ruler. So regardless of what size, so if you're dealing with one this size, you open it up, that's going to be your ruler. With this one, I'm just going to cut a quick piece. So this is the raw edge that gets sewn down when you're putting your binding on. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and this measurement here, from here to here, now becomes our ruler. So I'm just going to write here as a reference just for you guys. I don't do this when I'm doing it. I'm just showing you where we're looking at for measurements. So we're going to be lining from here to here, and this is where the crease is when it's folded in half. So what I do is I take one piece and I go, okay, this one is going to be my final size. So I cut it as close to straight as I can. So now this is going to be the final edge. See, there's a little bit of fabric left here. And then what we're going to do is, you see where this edge is here, right there? What we want to do is take from where this one ends and then be able to measure over so that we know where to cut this one. So by using our fabric ruler, we open it up. So edge, raw edge, we lay it like this. We line it up to the edge of the lower one that we've already cut to size. So here is where our next cut is going to be. It's going to be right here. So in essence, what happens is once this is cut, both are going to overlap the width of the binding when it's flat. So from here to here is the same as those two. And if you see overlapping there to there, they both have the same amount. So what I do is I quickly take a straight edge, because this part I want to make sure it's right. You don't want to go over undersize if you can. So make a nice clean cut. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open these up so its right sides are flat like this. And we're doing the same as when we join two together. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be sewing these together from corner to corner on a 45-degree, trimming it, and then when you flip it out, it'll fit perfectly. So what I do is, to give myself more, because this is really awkward to work with, I actually take the quilted side, I cinch it up, and I put a couple clips in it. If you don't have clips, you can use pins, whatever works for you. So that just helps it. So now we've got extra room for marking and sewing. So again, right sides together. Make sure you've got them facing the right way. And then what I do is I try to match it up. Sometimes I'll cheat and put a little bit of glue there. Pinning is your friend. So what I do is I get this all lined up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner, and then I'm going to sew that. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, I've got it sewn on the 45 on the stitch line that I made. I took some of the pins out while I was sewing, so I'll just take the rest out. Before I cut it, I do remove the clips. And then I open it right up, and I double check to make sure that I've actually stitched it in the right way, because I have made that mistake before. So when you see this is all trimmed down, it's going to fit really nicely. So what I do is I take this, depends how perfect you want to be. You can use a ruler, you can use scissors. I like to just cut it with my rotary cutter. I finger press these open so it's laying flat. Then I flip it over line up the edges, and then you'll see you've got a nice binding edge. So once this is all pressed and done and sewn, it's all gonna meet. You're not gonna have any puckers when you roll it over. You're barely gonna see where that joined line is. So let me know in the comments below how this worked out for you. If you have any questions, I will certainly answer them for you. And if you want me to explain it further, let me know as well. Take care. Until next week. Bye. Sew with Debbie. So I'm just showing you how I've got this marked up corner to corner. Because it's light fabric, I'm actually using a blue friction pen. I've never had problems with these coming back. You may want to test and go with what works for you. If you are using a friction pen, there's two kinds that I found. One is the click, where you click like that. And then the other one has a cap on it, which is slightly thinner. I actually like the one that you click. I find it marks up easier. It doesn't move the fabric when you're writing with it. And then as soon as you make a mark, you just click it closed, and then you're ready to go for the next one. So I'm just gonna quickly sew this from corner to corner. I like to do it at around a 2.0 stitch length, but that's totally up to you. Okay, see you in a minute. I just wanted to show you quickly, I did take the iron to this, so it does match up nicely. And when you roll it over, capturing the other side, you put a few clips in, and then you can continue by finishing off your binding by either hand stitching it on the other side or sewing it through from either side to finish it off. So again, this is my quick way of doing it, and I'm glad I could share this with you. Take care and have a great day. Bye.